Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Well, what have we got in front of us? Obviously, it's a Sketchup drawing. And rather than it be a Sketchup drawing topic, it is a workshop and a Dave's Diary workshop video, using the interface of Sketchup to better explain what I have been prattling on about in the workshop videos. I have a need to make as accurate as possible a MFT style of top. Because of that, all aspects of it I'm trying to refine down to that level of precision that I've deemed necessary to get the accuracy that I want from the track saw setup. As such, I had to make this extension table to the drill press to take the sheets of custom wood that I'm going to be using to make up the MFT style of top. Just the way I've got it designed permits me to use a drill press. So I've done this. Just about there, finished that now, so that's good. Had to made a new cabinet. And then I've been waiting and banging on about the fact that I'm waiting for these threaded pins that are 8mm. It's got 8mm shaft and an 8mm thread that goes into what is represented here in white, a 20mm dowel. Let's just call it a 20mm dowel. It is effectively the bench dog. It is of a dimension, accuracy, quality that makes the fit very nice. Thank you very much. Slips in buttery smooth without any slop or absolutely minimal slop perceived anyway. Now, the issue was the shafts that came, the threaded shaft or studs that came today, weren't actually sized right, were they? Had a really nice 8mm thread, but the shaft itself was just over 7mm, 7.05 to 7.15, so in that range. Nowhere near 8mm, which is an absolute requirement for my end use. Had to think about it. I made a flippant and offhanded comment that, maybe I can get a bit of heat shrink and pop on it and see how good it is. Well, that was a long shot. Turns out, not so much of a long shot as I might have thought. So, and I'll get back to this, the SketchUp model here, but nonetheless, the stud, if I chose the threaded studs, if I chose the larger of the, so I've got 20 of them, and I found 5 that had a the slightly larger size, the 7.15, 7.12, that sort of thing. If I chose them and chose the particular bit of heat shrink appropriately, once I shrunk the heat shrink on, obviously what you do, I actually got really lucky, and there are 5 of them, as I said, that were pretty darn good. A lovely fit in the guide bush that I'm using as part of the setup for the jigs. 3 of them a bit loose, but even then, not too bad, not a disaster. But now I've got 5 of these, the pins with the heat shrink on it. But not happy with that. I knew that I had some shaft material that I'd purchased, little short pieces, 70 or 80mm long, that was exactly 8mm, down to the 1/100th of a millimetre, literally. And that fitted very nicely into the guide bushings that I'm using to set up the jigs. Wouldn't it be nice to have those solid pieces of steel working together with the piece that we've got here representing a 20mm, I'm going to call it a steel dowel. It's only 35mm long, and it already has an 8mm thread into it. That's why I wanted those threaded studs. So, having had this sort of thing in mind for quite a number of years, and had wanted to use this with timber, which turned out not to be all that flash, I got out my lathe chuck, quite a chunky lathe chuck. I made a video on that already, just earlier today. Oops, sorry for that zoom. Made a video of that earlier today, and I was mentioning how if you can align the chuck of the drill and the lathe chuck perfectly in line, it has the facility, the lathe chuck has the facility to be bolted down to the table of the drill press, meaning that the lathe chuck, I'm starting to lose words there, the lathe chuck is now perfectly centered with the drill press chuck. How do I do that? As it turns out, the cross piece on the handle for the lathe chuck, the key, can be removed from the actual square, the key itself. And it is a lovely piece of accurately machined 10 or 12mm steel. That was handy, because I'd lost the one that I'd used previously, the bit of steel, to align the chucks. So I popped the heavy bit of steel, the handle, part of the handle, into the drill press, nibbed up the key on all three positions, let it hang down, did the same with the lathe chuck, wound it up, all three, until it gripped the steel shaft firmly, and then I was able to put bolts up from underneath, 3 of them, up underneath, and bolt the lathe chuck, down to the drill press table firmly. I was then able, successfully as I'm going to tell you, but I was then able to drill the 20mm stud, or dowel, out, and now the 8mm, the really nice 8mm dimensioned stud or shaft, goes into the 8mm hole. Yippee! Now, part of this requires a little bit more fleshing out of why I'm even making this video, and altogether, I just want to cover this off as well as possible and use the Sketchup drawing as the medium, as it were. When you purchase your drill bits, assuming you have purchased a 6mm or an 8mm or a 10mm or whatever size, get your calipers out and measure them. Not all drill bits are manufactured to the same tolerance, for whatever reason. And I've known this for years. I've actually got a whole set of, well, I'm actually attempting to build the sets up, but I've got a collection of drill bits that are divided up into at least tenths of millimeters. So it might be a 7.3 or some weird number. Knowing this, I got out all the 8mm drill bits and I measured them up, and most of them are 8 to 8.01, exactly the same size as the shaft material that I was talking about, strangely enough, or interestingly enough. But one of them was 7.98. Aha, exactly what I was looking for. The reason for that is, and I don't know whether you've ever noticed it, if you've been drilling something, the hole is generally bigger than the drill bit that you've just used to drill it. Probably because of a whole lot of factors, not machined accurately, not sharpened accurately, the drill press itself not 100% accurate. After all, it's just a huckery old workshop drill press. It's nothing, quality engineering type of thing. But I've noticed that if you can get close to the measurement you want, or just, under, in this case, by, 2/100ths of a millimetre, then when you measure up your actual hole, you're pretty much spot on with what you wanted. That's exactly what happened here, so I'm very, very happy, and why I'm making the video now. So using the 7.98mm drill, I popped the bit of a hole into the end. I just drilled out the threads of the 8mm, and I popped the shaft material in, and it is a very nice fit. Thank you very much. So now I have got the heat shrunk pins and the steel shaft material able to be inserted into the 20mm dowels so that I can carry on with my project. At last. There's been a bit of a trial. Well, it's been trying, at least, to get to this stage. Been waiting, hoping that the shaft material or the threaded studs would have been the solution. They weren't. Now that I've got this, I can pop a couple of these 20mm dowels in there, drill them out, and then I can put them aside and get back to finishing this extension table for the drill press so that I can get to drilling some holes. It's been probably a month and a half, a good month anyway. Bit by bit, things have come together. I've been literally waiting for things and then able to get to do them, and it's getting pretty darn close. So what is the date today? 18th of February. Let's hope that within the next few days to a week, because I've got other stuff to do, let's just say, what's the 18? Probably by the end of February, I'll have the MFT style of top done. Oh yay. So that will be a video and a half. Okay, so that's a big wordy old video, but there you go. I thought I'd show the use of the chuck. Nothing particularly clever. I'm sure there's been dozens and dozens of people making videos like this. I actually haven't seen them. I've seen something similar where they actually had two drill chucks, one mounted up vertically, and that's where I got this idea. And because I wanted to be able to drill some larger, some 50mm plates, I wanted to get a larger chuck. Yeah, so the lathe chuck was the obvious answer, wasn't it? And it just turned out to be lucky, as I was mentioning. They had the holes that would align with the base plate or the bench table of the drill press. Yay! So a couple of bolts from underneath. Actually, they don't go underneath. They go right through the main body of the chuck, making it very, very easy to just drop the bolts in and tighten some nuts up underneath. Yeah, so there you go. Sometimes you do get lucky. Okay, that's it. I'm off. I'm just looking at 10 to 11 at night. So I think I might head off and get a bit of sleep so I can get outside and do some work tomorrow. I literally have to go do a job, a few jobs tomorrow, so before I can get back and do this. So yeah, I'm a bit enthused. Because this afternoon when I got the pins and found they weren't the right ones, the threaded studs, I was a little bit annoyed. Didn't want that. So now I've come up with a solution that's possibly even better than what I wanted. Probably not. It would have been nice to have it threaded in, but now, hey, I'm not going to complain about this, I can tell you. Rightio, that's it. Happy camper, going to bed, and looking forward to getting back out into the workshop once I've got all the jobs done tomorrow. Rightio, with that, I'll leave you alone and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye now.